Hello everyone, welcome back to Medical Neuroscience, and welcome to this brief review of the surface anatomy of the brainstem. This is an attempt to break down some of the complexity of the human brain, and so my goal is to help you appreciate that complexity, but also give you a framework for coming to grips with it. So there's actually nothing new in this tutorial. Rather, I want to put before you again the surface of the brainstem, because we will be diving shortly into the complexity of the cranial nerves and the nuclei in the brainstem to which they connect. And I think in order to really get the most out of the tutorials that you are about to view on these subjects, it will be really important for you to be able to describe the surface features of the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla oblongata. So what I want to do is show you again the surface of the human brainstem. Here's a model of the brainstem with parts of the deep forebrain nuclei attached on the top, and I want you to be able to review the surface features of the midbrain, the pons, and the medulla as seen from the ventral view as well as from the dorsal view as best we can. So what I'm going to do is give you another look at the actual human brainstem and give you a chance just to refresh in your mind what are the principal features that define each of these subdivisions, such as the cerebral peduncles of the midbrain or the medullary pyramids of the medulla oblongata. So I hope you enjoy this review, and I hope it sets the stage for a productive viewing of the remaining tutorials that pertain to the way that the cranial nerves connect with this complex part of the human brain. So I'll see you next in the lab. For this lab lesson, we want to explore the ventral surface of the human brain. So I'm going to take this specimen and hold it up so that you can have a clear view of the ventral surface of the brain. Now, if I tilt this specimen a little bit more, you can appreciate a dark space just behind these mammillary bodies, and this is roughly the junction of the diencephalon and the midbrain. In fact, the space is defined by these two broad columns called the cerebral peduncles, or cerebral stalks, one on either side of this space. Those stalks are a component of the midbrain, or the mesencephalon. And as the term peduncle or stalk implies, this is a massive bundle of white matter that allows the forebrain to connect with everything below it, the hindbrain and the spinal cord. Now, just inferior to the cerebral peduncles, as we see them here in the midbrain, is the pons and the cerebellum. The pons extends out laterally, again another massive bundle of white matter connecting the brainstem to the cerebellum. And just inferior to the pons, we have the medulla oblongata, or the medulla for short. And on the ventral view of the medulla, two striking features appear along the midline. It's a pair of structures called the medullary pyramids that run on either side of the midline. This is a very important fiber pathway that runs through the brainstem. It's called the cortical spinal tract, and there's one on each side of the midline. These tracts contain the fibers of the motor cortex that are sending their axons down into the spinal cord to govern voluntary movement. One additional feature of the medulla that sits just next to the medullary pyramid is this bulging shape. It looks like an olive that has been cut in half and stuck to the side of the medulla, just lateral to the medullary pyramid. And thankfully, that's what we call this structure. This structure is called the olive, so it's easy to remember. So we have the medullary pyramids right along the midline, and then just lateral to the medullary pyramid is this bulging structure called the olive.